What it do? It's your boy TWV checking in for another edition of the NXT recap and review. Like I've said before, NXT is the home of women's wrestling. We had over 14 women showcased through our matches and segments over the night with the likes of Stephanie Vaquer, Karmen Petrovic, Julia, Ariana Grace, Lola Vice, Jordan Grace, Roxanne Perez, Chelsea Green, Piper Niven, Jada Parker, Kalani Jordan, Soul Kazarian, and Izzy Dame. With that being said, let's get to the review. First in-ring action of the night was Stephanie Vaquer versus Karmen Petrovic. Stephanie Vaquer was defending her NXT North American Championship against Karmen Petrovic. Petrovic showcased a heightened level of aggression, stunning the champion multiple times. However, Vaquer secured her victory with a well-executed dragon screw from the top rope, followed by her signature SVB finisher. Post-match, NXT champion Julia confronted Vaquer, proposing a future title versus title match between the two champions. So to start the show off, it was a 20-minute match. It was nice. It was hot. Real good pacing, real good back and forth action from both superstars. The crowd was really into it. And like I said, to end the match, Julia confronted Vaquer, proposing a title versus title match at NXT Roadblock in 2 weeks. So further down in the show, we may or may not get a confirmation from Ava if that match will be a thing. I'm really high on both wrestlers. Like I said in previous videos, I did not really follow them pre-WWE. I seen one Stephanie Vaquer match when she was in AEW for one match against Mercedes Moné, and I really thought she was really good. Julia, from what I've seen just on Twitter, obviously she's a demon, and what I've seen from her so far in her NXT run, she's a really great wrestler. I'm a huge fan of her. Well deserving again the NXT Championship. The title versus title stipulation, two sides to the coin, how I feel about it. Somebody's getting called up. I don't know who's getting called up. Whoever loses the match gets called up, I'm assuming. And I'm more so looking like it's Stephanie Vaquer that's going to drop the belt and get called up because she's more WWE style of wrestling ready. And she just has a killer presentation, like with the smoke and the arena going black, and then the animation of the horns that she wears on her head coming up on the screen, and then her name pops up. Aura. She has the aura to be on the main roster. And like I've said before, I'm a fan of wrestlers with aura. Not saying Julia doesn't have aura. She has her own aura as well. But I think she still needs to get her English together a little bit more. And just get better with her promos a little bit. But in ring, she has it all. She's a total package. So I'm definitely looking forward to their confrontation, hopefully in 2 weeks. Next segment was Lexis King pre-match talking to Obafemi. Lexis King was scheduled to face TNA X-Division champion Moose. As King made his way to the ring, he encountered NXT champion Obafemi backstage. In a brief but intense exchange, King subtly taunted Femi, suggesting that he may soon hold multiple titles. Femi responded with a confident smirk, hinting at a potential future confrontation between the two champions. I like Lexis King. I didn't like him in AEW when he was a part of that group. Feel like he was overshadowed. But now that he's on his own and, got put through the NXT system, he's really developed into his own character and his own style. They say on Twitter he's a Timu Kenny Omega, but that's really high praise because Kenny Omega is an amazing wrestler. So I definitely see him not being on the level of Kenny Omega, but he definitely can go in the ring. Like, just me about to speak about this match, it was a really well paced match. I'm not gonna say I'm a fan of Moose, but I'm not gonna discredit Moose like before. Like when I said I didn't really care for him, I didn't watch him. But let's get to the match. So a historic match took place as TNA X-Division champion Moose defended his title against NXT Heritage Cup champion Lexis King. This marked the first time the X-Division championship was defended on NXT. The bout was intense with both competitors showcasing their unique styles. King, performing in front of his hometown crowd in Cincinnati, demonstrated resilience against Moose's powerful offense. A pivotal moment occurred when Moose delivered a scintillating dropkick, knocking King off the top rope. Despite King's effort to find an opening, Moose ultimately secured the victory with a rib-cracking spear, retaining his X-Division championship. Following the match, NXT champion Obafemi confronted Moose in the ring. Femi challenged Moose to a title match at the upcoming NXT Roadblock event scheduled for March 11th. 2025 in New York City. This sets the stage for a highly anticipated showdown between the NXT and the TNA X-Division champion. So, with that being said, like I just previously said, the match was really well. Big fan of Lexis King. Definitely feel like he's still on the come up. I feel like by the end of the year, maybe even as Stand and Deliver, he may get the North American Championship. I feel like whoever has the belt at that time, I feel like they would drop it to him. I feel like he could get in that mid card and still hit the ground running, still figuring out his character a little bit, figuring it out in the ring as well. But he's putting it together. Like, this match was really well. I really enjoyed it thoroughly. Definitely a fan of Lexis King. I've grown some appreciation for Moose. I would have to see what he does with Obafemi before I can put a fan card up or check that off. Like, I'm a fan of Moose. Not hating on him, of course. I just didn't watch TNA, so I knew he was TNA champion multiple times, things like that. But now seeing him in this bigger spotlight, and him showcasing his talent, he's growing on me. So overall, I cannot wait for him and Obafemi to have the match. It's going to be a banger. Obafemi does not put on bad matches at all. I can go through Obafemi's entire catalog and quote you matches. Specifically, triple threat between Dijak Dijakovic, Josh Briggs, and Obafemi from last year for the NXT North American Championship at Stand and Deliver. If you have time, go watch that match. That match was insane. It was easily the best match of Stand and Deliver that night. And it might have been the best match of WrestleMania Night 1. When I go back to think about the WrestleMania Night 1 card, it was some good matches on there, but I think Oba, Dijak, and Josh Briggs set the tone for the rest of the evening. And I don't think nobody really followed up outside of the main event with all the superstar power they had in the main event tag team match with Cody and Seth versus Rock and Roman. Like, only that will overshadow them. But just for in-ring wrestling and just the action, I got to go with Obafemi, Dijak, and Josh Briggs. Going on a tangent, but let's circle back to the rest of NXT. The next segment was Jordynne Grace speaking to the NXT crowd. Jordynne Grace made a significant impact during her in-ring promo, expressing her desire to compete in NXT's esteemed women's division. Grace was interrupted by Roxanne Perez. Perez attempted to downplay Grace's previous achievements, suggesting that she was merely a big fish in a small pond during her tenure in TNA. In response, Grace pointed out that Perez no longer held a championship, implying that the division was not hers to claim. Perez retorted, asserting that Grace couldn't defeat her for the title. She further declared her intention to win the upcoming Elimination Chamber match, aiming to secure the Women's World Championship at WrestleMania and potentially reclaiming the NXT Women's Championship for a record third time. The confrontation escalated when Grace abruptly ended the exchange by striking Perez in the face. So, Jordynne Grace is a great athletic freak of nature wrestler. And her promo skills are decent. Her being in the NXT system, she'll get a lot better. But right now, she just comes off as, believable, lovable. Like, I really like Jordynne Grace. Didn't really watch her in TNA, but I did know about Jordynne Grace just through Twitter and seeing highlights of her matches in TNA. So she's a demon. She's a demon. She could go. As for Roxanne Perez is the prodigy. She's top 10 just wrestlers between just WWE. If I'm just going WWE alone, she's in the top 10 easily. And she's not even like 10. She's like maybe 6 or 7. Like, she's in the mix. Like, she can go. Like, for her to be as undersized as she is, she puts on great matches. Like, she got that Russell Westbrook ability to play outside of her body and be like bigger than she is. Like, she could go in that ring. Like, she's definitely had some great matches. I can go back to last year at Stand and Deliver with Lila Valkyria. You put her in a ladder match. She had a great ladder match last year. Was last year, 2 years ago. She's a star. She's a star in the making, and they're definitely giving her that push. Like, she was the longest woman in the Royal Rumble in history. She's in her first Elimination Chamber. I know she's going to have a great show in there on Saturday. So the sky's the limit for Roxanne Perez. I definitely see, if not by the end of this year, the start of next year, she's definitely in that world title picture. I know she's gonna get that Bayley match. I'm really stamping that. I'm planting that flag in the ground for that Bayley match. I'm under the assumption there's no way around her not having that match with Bayley. Like, they're both in the chamber with each other. Somebody's gonna eliminate each other, and then the other person's gonna come back and attack them and cause them to get eliminated. So it's gonna be just a chain reaction thing. So they're definitely gonna plant those seeds. They've been running into each other on Raw, in segments and things like that leading up to Saturday. So I can't wait to see where they go with that. But let's get to the next one. Segment was Shawn Spears introducing his newly formed stable. Spears highlighted each member, Brooks Jensen, Nico Vance, and Izzy Dame, emphasizing their transformations and collective ambition. He declared their intent to establish themselves as a dominant family within NXT, with the immediate goal of capturing the NXT North American Championship. This announcement sets the stage for Spears' upcoming title match against Tony D'Angelo on the March 4th episode of NXT. So, since Shawn Spears came back from injury, his feud has been with Tony D and the D'Angelo family. He took out Tony D after the steel cage match. This past Tuesday, he took out Stacks. So now Tony D is, the last man on the hit list. Like, I'm coming for your belt. And I'm a big fan of Shawn Spears. Shawn Spears is an ultimate professional, true veteran. He's been around this industry at least 25 years. He's had a run before in WWE, before he went to AEW. Now he came back to NXT. He's in that position where he's pretty much going to elevate all the younger talent. I don't think Spears goes to the main roster. I feel like him and HBK's relationship is really well down there, that Shawn Spears would just not be a gatekeeper. Gatekeeping is crazy. But he's going to be just that guy to just push the next generation of talent to that next level with all the knowledge that he's had in this industry, and I really like it. I'm waiting on Tony D to get called up. I thought Tony D was going to get called up maybe a year ago, maybe 2 years ago. Like, I thought Tony D would have been that guy to get called up by now. I'm hoping by the end of this year he gets called up. I would love to see Tony D and the D'Angelo family on SmackDown, on Raw. Keep the character the same. Keep the family the same. Give my boy Stacks a little push too. I think they can win the tag team belts, or Tony D can win U.S. Championship, Intercontinental Championship. I'm a big fan of Tony D. I love Tony D's wrestling ability. I love his character. Like, the Don is such a great character, and it's just like a throwback to like the 90s, like of just okay, this is cool, I can get behind this, but it's not like one of these newer characters in the 21st century. But I really am a big fan of Tony D. I do hope he retains. I feel like he should drop the belt. I say let Ricky Starks beat him at Stand and Deliver, unless we catapult Ricky Starks to the moon. But we'll talk about Ricky Starks later on in the evening. The next segment was between Trick Williams and Javon Evans. Trick Williams was seen reflecting on his recent loss to Eddie Thorpe, expressing frustration over negative comments on social media. Javon Evans' approach attempting to emphasize by drawing parallels to his own experience. However, Williams dismissed the comparison, emphasizing that while Evans was concerned with personal grievances, he was focused on championship aspirations. The exchange grew tense, nearly escalating into a physical confrontation. At that moment, Ricky Saints entered, introducing himself to Williams. Williams acknowledged knowing who Saints was, but still agitated, walked away. Saints then remarked on the prevalent anger among the NXT roster. So, I love this for so many reasons, because Javon Evans should be in that main event tier. He's in that main event tier. He's been doing a little feud with Ethan Page right now. But Javon Evans is a main event caliber player in NXT. Yes, he's only 20. Maybe he might be 21 now, but he's definitely up there in that main event tier. Like, he can go with any of them. Like, on any given notice, Javon Evans can get the belt put on him, and nobody will bat an eye, because Javon Evans is that talented of a superstar. My boy Trick Willie turned the heel. I see it. It's growing on him. He thinking the fans turning on him. He wilding out trying to get his championship, and it's rightfully so. But they love you on the top, they hate you when you're on the bottom. So Trick Willie getting that edge to him that I need to see, man. Trick Willie is one of my favorite wrestlers on NXT. One of my favorite wrestlers, period. So definitely something cool to see with him going through that character change. Ricky Saints thinks everybody in NXT is angry. It's just a hilarious little bit, just going between segments and interactions with people. Definitely a big fan of that. I do see Trick Williams and Saints getting into it in the next couple weeks, and that can lead to a match. Definitely something I'm high on. Saints will bring the best out of Trick Williams. Trick Williams will step up to the plate. Whenever Trick Williams is put in those big match moments, he steps up to the plate. As much as people want to talk shit about him on the internet saying he can't wrestle, hey, man, that's why he's in NXT for a reason, to learn how to wrestle the WWE way. And to me, I'm a fan of Trick Williams. The only thing I don't like about Trick Williams is his punches are so comical. But once you get past the punches, outside of that, Trick Williams is the dude. So hey, I can't wait to see where this all boils down to between Trick and Javon and Ricky Saints. I feel like it's going to be not a series of matches, but I know Trick and Javon will have a match. I know him and Ricky Saints is going to have a match with him, because he'll be in Javon's corner and they'll have an interaction or something in between the match. But Trick Williams got two more competitors lined up after this Eddie Thorpe thing, and We'll talk about Eddie Thorpe in a little bit. Ring action was the Hardy Boyz versus the No Quarter Catch crew for the TNA Tag Team Championships. The Hardy Boyz stepped back into a WWE ring for the first time since 2019, facing off against the up-and-coming duo, the No Quarter Catch crew, Miles Bourne and Tavion Heights. The match was a blend of veteran experience and youthful ambition. The bout commenced with Bourne and Heights attempting to assert dominance, utilizing their agility and strength to corner Matt early on. However, Matt's ring awareness allowed him to counter their offense, creating an opening to tag his brother Jeff. Jeff entered with his signature high-energy style, executing a series of rapid maneuvers that shifted momentum in the favor of the Hardys. As the match progressed, the cohesion of the No Quarter Catch crew was evident. They isolated Jeff Hardy, employing quick tags and combined techniques to wear him down. Despite their efforts, Jeff's resilience shone through. A pivotal moment saw Jeff evade a double-team attempt, leading to a hot tag to Matt, who unleashed a flurry of offensive moves, including his renowned side effect and elbow strikes. The climax of the match featured the Hardys performing their iconic combination. Matt delivered a twist of fate to Bourne, setting up Jeff for a swanton bomb from the top rope. This sequence secured the pinfall victory for the Hardy Boyz. Post-match, the NXT Tag Team Champions Fraxium, Nathan Frazier and Axiom, entered to commend the Hardys on their performance. Their exchange of respect quickly transitioned into a challenge, with Fraxium expressing their desire to face the Hardys to determine the superior tag team. In response, TNA Director of Authority Santino Marella appeared and officially sanctioned a match between these two teams. He announced that the Hardy Boyz would defend their TNA Tag Team Championships against Fraxium at the upcoming NXT Roadblock event on March 11th at the theater at Madison Square Garden. This encounter not only highlighted the Hardys' enduring prowess, but also set the stage for a compelling cross-promotional championship showdown, blending the legacies of TNA and WWE within the NXT landscape. So this match was amazing. This possibly might be some people's first time seeing the Hardys if they're just getting into wrestling, and they show why they still can go 33 years later. Like, I have a VHS of the Hardy Boyz, the Dudley Boyz, and Edge and Christian. It's called TLC. It'll be in a video coming up this week where I talk about how I got into wrestling and some of my favorite wrestling matches as a kid and growing up. But Matt and Jeff Hardy are on my Mount Rushmore of all-time tag teams. I think that I have them number one. I think I said that in a previous video. They were number one. Edge and Christian is 2. Usos are 3. New Day will be 4. Dudley Boyz will be 5. So definitely really high on them. When they leave wrestling, like they literally changed the landscape of tag team wrestling and professional wrestling with their series, Edge and Christian and the Dudley Boyz, with all the TLC matches they did. Like, they really made TLC matches what they are today, and without them it wouldn't even be a thing. So definitely got to pay my homage and respect to the Hardy Boyz, but also got to give my respect to the No Quarter Catch crew. Tavion Heights, when he went to Japan and came back, man, whatever he learned in Japan, boy, that guy's a demon. And then we had baby Randy Orton with Bourne. Like, he's just doing all of Randy Orton's moves. Like, it's just, whew, that guy, both of those guys have a future in this industry, and I'm excited to see where they go from there. But with that being said, let's get to the next segment. Next segment featured WWE's Women's United States Champion Chelsea Green and Piper Niven confronting Sol, Ruka, and Zarya. Green and Niven entered the room, prompting others to leave, but Ruka and Zarya remained. The two teams exchanged heated words, with Green comparing Ruka and Zarya to Selena Gomez and Benny Blanco, suggesting that they were destined for failure and stood no chance against them. The confrontation escalated when Niven brandished their pocket taser, intensifying the tension. Despite the hostility, both teams agreed to settle their differences in a tag team match scheduled for next Tuesday, March 4th episode of NXT. So Chelsea Green is pretty hilarious. She's acting like she's the president and Piper Niven is her security. So when the segment started, like, Niven came in and talked about the eagle has landed. We need everybody to clear the room. And so Ruka and Zarya were talking about how Zarya doesn't like doing the handstand push-ups that So Ruka does, and like she had hurt her wrist and things like that. And once Piper Niven came in, they was just like, yeah, we're not leaving. And Chelsea Green got mad, like, Piper, why aren't they leaving? So just a little hilarious little back and forth, which will lead to their tag team match. Like So Ruka said, they are on a 2-match winning streak, and they can make it 3 against them next week. And definitely high on So Ruka and Zarya. I feel like they are a really good tag team. I feel like this is good for Zarya right now, just getting accustomed to the WWE and the landscape and things like that. Keep her with a seasoned NXT vet. I feel like, I said this before, let's throw them into the women's tag team. Let's throw them in there, throw them into the fire, and see what they can do against Liv and Raquel, man. Like, like I said yesterday, scrape it throw it in the pot, mix it up. You know what I'm saying? See what we can get out of it. And I definitely feel like Dim, Lash, and Jakara. You can go Piper Niven and not Candice, Chelsea Green. There's so many people you can make tag teams in the women's division and just make more challenges for Liv and Raquel. Not saying that the women's tag division is weak, but there's no true tag teams. But there's a lot of people you can kind of put together to make tag teams. And it'll be interesting. Like, what if Chelsea was double champ? She was tag champ and she was U.S. champ. I mean, Chelsea and Piper were already been tag champs before, but boy, Chelsea Green would be a new sense if she was double champ. Like, there's so many cool things and possibilities that you could do with the women's tag division. Going on a tangent about something totally separate. But this is a tag team match, so it kind of goes together. But that's just my thoughts and opinions. Let's get to the next segment. In-ring action was Ariana Grace versus Lola Vice. Stemming from a pre-show segment, Lola Vice faced off against Ariana Grace in a singles match. Vice, eager for competition, initiated the bout with a series of aggressive strikes. Grace, known for her beauty pageant background, surprised many by countering with stiff jabs, showcasing her resilience and determination. Despite Grace's spirited offense, Vice maintained control and secured a victory with a decisive spinning back fist. This win highlights Vice's growing prominence in the NXT's women's division. So Lola Vice was a former MMA fighter, so she's not one to be messed with. She really got legit hands. So that's a cool blend of her character. Like, that's what she goes for, like more so for MMA style with ground and pound and things of that nature. Ariana Grace is the liaison of NXT for TNA, so she really doesn't have any in-ring work outside of like house shows that NXT does. So this is my first time seeing Ariana Grace actually wrestle in the ring. It was pretty funny. She's right off the Santino Marella family's comedy wrestling gimmick. So, and she, like I said in the segment, she had a lot of countering with stiff jabs and showcased her ability too. So it was really cool. I would like her to get more reps. And just build up some credibility. But what I've seen so far, I really do like it. I'm really high on her. I'm really, like I said, I'm pretty positive when it comes to this wrestling thing. Like, it looked like she got some potential. Hey, let's get her the reps and see where she can really go from here. Let's throw her into the NXT, not Intercontinental, North American Championship scene where Kalani Jordan and Jada Parker, Karmen Petrovic, and all of them are battling it out trying to get to Stephanie Vaquer. But hey, like I just previously said in the last segment, let's just mix everybody up together and see what we get out of it. The more people you throw in there, the more magic you can make. You can see who works with who don't work with who. You know what I'm saying? We can just, let's put on bangers. But let's get to the next segment. The next segment was a backstage beatdown of the new faction on the No Quarter Catch crew. A mysterious faction compromising of Performance Center recruits Cutler James, Dion Lennox, Shaquan Sugars, and Osiris Griffin launched a backstage assault on members of the No Quarter Catch crew, Charlie Dempsey, Miles Bourne, and Tavion Heights. Earlier in the evening, the group had posted a cryptic message on social media. You don't know when we're going to show up or what we're going to do, but one thing's for sure, no one is safe. The ominous statement preceded their attack on the No Quarter Catch crew backstage. This incident marks the latest in a series of attacks by the faction who previously targeted Nathan Frazier, Axiom, and Obafemi at NXT Vengeance Day, and Robert Stone February 18th. The group motives remain unclear and their identity continues to be a mystery. So, I just told you their identity, but in kayfabe, they have not shown their identity on TV. So I'm getting Retribution vibes, Baby Shield vibes, where they're just going through wreaking havoc, beating people up. I need another group of 4 to kind of step up so they can face off against them. I don't know where we get that group of 4 from, unless we get Obafemi, Fraxium in a 4th, because it's not gonna be Robert Stone. Robert Stone doesn't wrestle, so that wouldn't make sense. Or we can get Obafemi, No Quarter Catch crew, or then they would have to get a 5th. But you get where I'm going with this. So it'll be Fraxium, No Quarter Catch crew, Obafemi versus Cutler James, Dion Lennox, Shaquan Sugars, Osiris Griffin, and I guess they would have to get a 5th member. But that'd be something pretty cool. 5-on-5 tag team match. We so far away from it. I would have said War Games, but that's not till like November. But hey, don't think we drag it that long. A lot of these people are going to get called up before then. But I do see this has to get paid off at least before Stand and Deliver or at Stand and Deliver some kind of way. Or it's probably going to be before Stand and Deliver on the NXT. We got what? 1, 2, 3, 4. Maybe 4 weeks to get this done. Maybe 5. But we shall see where it goes from there. But I'm interested in no matter what. Because this faction, like when I seen them at Vengeance Day, I was just like, okay, they up to something. They up to something. And I can get behind it. Like, so it's something new, it's something refreshing. It's not your LWO, it's not your Judgment Day. They're out for blood. They not messing around. So I can get behind it for sure. Segment was Eddie Thorpe delivering a compelling backstage promo that highlighted his personal connection to the city of Cincinnati. He reflected on his heritage, mentioning that his ancestors once roamed the area before being pushed out west and largely forgotten. This introspective moment underscored Thorpe's deep-rooted ties to the region. In his promo, Thorpe drew a parallel between his ancestors' displacement and the ongoing rivalry with Trick Williams. He expressed frustration over the persistent opportunities granted to Williams despite Thorpe's previous victories over him. Thorpe's desire for a definitive match to settle their difference was evident as he stated his willingness to face Williams again, emphasizing his determination to prove his superiority. This segment effectively deepened the narrative between Thorpe and Williams, adding a personal and emotional layer to their feud. By connecting his family's history to his current struggles, Thorpe's character was portrayed as both resilient and determined, setting the stage for a potential rematch that could have significant implications for both competitors. So, a couple weeks ago, I said I was not an Eddie Thorpe fan. I did not like how the match ended at Vengeance Day. But with these promos that Eddie Thorpe has been doing the last 2 weeks, he has grown on me. And he's facing off against Trick Williams, so I got to see what he can really do. He's like, he keep crying about Trick Williams getting all the opportunities that he not getting. Well, ball in your court, man. You stepping up to the big time. It's time to show and prove. It's time to show up and show out, my boy. And I want to see this match not go to Stand and Deliver, but I feel like they're gonna book it for 2 weeks from now at Roadblock. Throw a stipulation on it. Let's get crazy. Throw a steel cage. Let's get crazy in MSG. Let's throw a steel cage in there and get crazy. But I definitely see Thorpe going over and really showcasing that he should be in that main event tier on NXT as well. Because it's not too many people in the main event tier in NXT. You got Obafemi, Trick Williams, Ethan Page, Ricky Saints now, and that's it. That's like 4. Javon Evans, maybe 5. So you only got 5 people really in the NXT side of the main event here. Of course, you got Moose challenging Obafemi, but yeah, you gotta bring some more people up to make the main event seem more competitive and more interesting. And Eddie Thorpe jumping up there wouldn't surprise me. He has been growing on me. He has been showing that he deserves it, and I hope they do give him a shot in that main event tier after his feuds over with Trick Williams, depending on which way it goes. I do see Eddie going over, and this will bridge into Trick really going down that downhill spiral and really turning heel, crashing out. I can get behind that, like him losing to Eddie Thorpe because he's overlooking Eddie Thorpe, things like that. So it's definitely good for both characters on both sides. Now, coming off the other side of Vengeance Day, I really do like it. Going into Vengeance Day, I was just like, what was this? But now, seeing the other side of the coin, I'm like, okay, I can get behind this. I can get behind this. But let's get to the next segment. Segment was NXT General Manager Ava announcing several matches for the upcoming NXT Roadblock event scheduled for March 11th, 2025 at the theater at Madison Square Garden in New York City. The first match she announced was title versus title match, Julia versus Stephanie Vaquer. Ava confirmed the highly anticipated title for title match between NXT's Women's Champion Julia and NXT's Women's North American Champion Stephanie Vaquer. This bout would determine the undisputed champion of the women's division. So, like I said earlier today, somebody's getting called up after this match. I'm assuming it's Stephanie Vaquer, because Julia personally, in my opinion, needs a little bit more time down in NXT before she makes that main roster. So I would see Julia making the main roster later on in the year when we do the draft. Wouldn't be surprised at all. Give her 7 more months. I feel like she'll be good to go. The next match is champion versus champion, Obafemi versus Moose. In another major announcement, Ava set up a champion versus champion match between NXT champion Obafemi and TNA X-Division champion Moose. Both titles will be on the line, adding significant stakes to this encounter. So I am really torn down the middle now, because at first I thought it was only the NXT championship. I might be wrong. I think it is only the NXT championship, but if it is both titles, Obafemi's probably going over. Moose is going to put on a banger though, because whenever Moose defends his title, he don't miss. From what I've seen in highlights on Twitter, after looking up Moose's highlights last night, just learning a little bit more about him. So definitely don't know who's going to win. More so leaning toward Obafemi. If it is just the NXT championship, still leaning towards Obafemi. The next match that Ava also announced was the Tag Team Championship with the Hardy Boyz versus Fraxium. This match promises to be a high energy contest between two dynamic tag teams. Roadblock is looking to be basically, if not a title for title pay-per-view, titles on the line in damn near every match. So it's going to be lit. I can't wait for March 11th to roll around. And with March 11th rolling around, that means we getting closer to going to Vegas, baby. But with that being said, let's get to the next segment, which is the main event of the night. Main event of the night, it was Ricky Saints and Javon Evans facing off against Wes Lee and Ethan Page in a highly anticipated tag team match. This bout marked Ricky Saints' in-ring debut on NXT television. So some of the highlights of the match, in my personal opinion: early dominance, Ethan Page and Wes Lee initially controlled the match, with Page executing a powerful backbreaker on Javon Evans using the top turnbuckle. Saints debut. Ricky Saints made a strong debut, delivering a flurry of offense, including a tornado DDT on Page and a devastating spear to Wes Lee. Brawl in the crowd. The match escalated when Javon Evans and Ethan Page brawled into the crowd, leaving Saints and Lee to continue the contest in the ring. A climactic finish. Wes Lee attempted his signature cardiac kick, but Ricky Saints countered with his finishing move, the Rochambeau, securing the victory for his team. This match showcased the rising talent of Ricky Saints and the ongoing rivalry between Javon Evans and Ethan Page, setting the stage for future confrontations in NXT. So, Ricky Starks / Saints ain't no slouch. He didn't put on bangers with Daniel Bryan, 2 bangers with CM Punk. He's put on bangers with Powerhouse Hobbs, man. He's put on tag team classics, man. Go look up Ricky Starks matches in AEW. Ricky Starks ain't no slouch. Like, to the new crowd that's seeing him for the first time, if you're just seeing Ricky Starks for the first time, okay, this was a cool showing. But man, people know what Ricky Starks Saints is about. Like, come on, man. The Revolution is televised again, baby. My man been off TV for a year and a half because Tony Khan didn't want to put my boy on the show. Now Shawn Michaels about to have him on the show every week, even if he talking for 5 minutes. We gonna see Ricky Saints every week until that championship is wrapped around his waist. And then, oh boy, Ricky's gonna turn it up another level. Man, Ricky Starks was one of my favorite wrestlers in AEW, now in WWE. So I can't wait to see what he does in NXT until he gets called up to the main roster. Once Ricky Saints makes it to the main roster, I hope that's maybe like a year from now. I hope Ricky Saints gets a little run in NXT. I don't think he will, unfortunately, will be a main event player. I feel like he will float around Intercontinental, United States Championship. But he has CM Punk and Cody Rhodes backing him, so he could technically break through. World Heavyweight Champion. I don't think he will be the undisputed champion, but I can see him winning the World Heavyweight Champion in maybe like 2 years. But yeah, man, Ricky Saints is my guy, man. So I'm really high on it. This episode of NXT was amazing. From seeing the Hardys back in the WWE ring again, from Stephanie Vaquer just dominating the North American Championship division, to Chelsea Green making a comedic appearance and setting up a match for next week, with Kalani Jordan and Jada Parker getting into it via Twitter, and they showed it during the show, and they're setting up a match for next week. Just to showcase the women overall throughout the show. Like I said, NXT is the show for women's wrestling. Even if they're not in a match, they're going to get showcased in a segment. Either pre-tape via Twitter, wherever it may be. But yeah, I am an avid fan of women's wrestling. You can see the shirt. Io Sky Bailey, you know what I'm saying? WrestleMania, best match of WrestleMania weekend. So, I'm an avid fan of women's wrestling. So with that being said, this is your boy TWV checking out for the NXT recap and review, and we'll catch you in the next one on Friday. Peace.